Hello guys, Alex here. I have noticed a very common statement from China bashers, and they say that I love Chinese people. We are just against the Communist Party of China. For example, this comment on my last video about serpentza and Laowai 86. They only speak the truth. By the way, it is not racist because they talk about the Chinese government. They say all the time, and I can tell by their words and actions, they truly love the Chinese people. It is the Chinese Communist Party they have issue with, that is not the Chinese people. Well, really? I'm sorry, I don't buy it. You wonder why? I would like to cite some historical events to express my opinion. During the first Sino-Japanese War, Japan published a statement written by a famous China hand, Munetaka Kotaro. I would like to conclude the main points of this statement. First point is, Manchu, the ruling class of Qing dynasty, is just a barbaric ethnic group which inherited dominance from Ming dynasty illegally and violently. The second point is, we Japanese army are here to punish Manchu regime, not Han Chinese civilians. The third point is, Han Chinese and Japanese share common ancestors, language, and philosophy, so we are reliable partners to Han Chinese, but not enemy. And the fourth point is incite to Han Chinese to uprising against Manchu ruling class. Let's look at how Japanese army treated Chinese civilians during the first Sino-Japanese War. The Port Arthur massacre took place during the first Sino-Japanese War from 21st November 1894 for 2 or 3 days, when an advanced element of the 1st Division of Japanese Second Army under the command of General Yamachi Motoharu killed somewhere between 1,000 and 20,000 Chinese servicemen and civilians in the Chinese coastal city of Port Arthur. And now let's talk about what are the consequences of the first Sino-Japanese War. The Treaty of Shimonoseki was signed on 17 April 1895. China recognized the total independence of Korea and ceded the Liaodong Peninsula, Taiwan, and the Penghu Islands to Japan permanently. After the war, the Qing government paid 200 million coping taels, or 300 million yen, making the war a net profit for Japan, as their war fund was only 250 million yen. The failure of First Sino-Japanese War might be a turning point in modern Chinese history. Japan rose significantly after the war and invaded declining China again in 1930s. In 1905, Tongmenhui, the predecessor of Kuomintang, was established in Tokyo, Japan. They also came up with their political goal: to expel the Manchu people, to revive Zhonghua, to establish a republic, and to distribute land equally among the people. In 1911, Qing government was overthrown by Republicans led by Sun Yat-sen, founder of Tongmenhui. Sun Zhongshan, who is also prized as father of nation by Chinese people. Well, what we can conclude from this historical event, Chinese people are not dumb. We read history and we are able to distinguish hypocrites who are just trying to take advantage from us, and patriots who are willing to dedicate their life for our country. Now let's get back to those China bashers who claim that they love Chinese people but only against the CPC. Let me ask them a sincere question. Are you willing to come to China to help Chinese people to have a better life? I mean, helping people by really doing something on the ground with your hands, with your knowledge, and with your time, not your mouth. For example, starting an NGO program which will benefit the local community, like this guy.
This is his story, how he helped.
To allow children to see.
It's 2010 and Sam moves to rural Yunnan to teach English.
I was living and teaching. It was a small town, or a market town called Yongbao. So to get there, you take, first you fly to Kunming, which is the capital of Yunnan.
Who was to know that 8 years and 600 schools later, he'd still be here?
So take us back to rural Yunnan. What was it like when you first arrived?
Well, when I first went to rural Yunnan, I really had no idea what to expect. I'd been studying Chinese in college, but I didn't know anything about Yunnan, and rural China was a complete mystery to me. That's part of what attracted me to the program. It was beautiful, it really was. The school was surrounded by rice terraces. Most of the farmers still used water oxen.
And how did you first notice that some of the children were struggling to see?
Well, the group of us that started Education in Sight, we all noticed that a number of our students were really just clearly, they're squinting in class, they couldn't copy notes from the board. So much of the classroom learning in China, in rural China, is done directly in that manner. If you don't have that, then it's a huge impediment to your ability to review and to study. So it really became quite obvious to us very early on that there was a giant gap here.
A lot of people would see this problem but have no idea how to tackle it. How did you first go about trying to solve it?
The initial idea was just, before we left, we wanted to make sure that if nothing else, at least we would get the kids in our classrooms at our schools glasses so they could see. And it was really after that that we started playing with this idea. Should we try to scale this? So from there we took it a step at a time.
Up until 2019, Sam and his social enterprise, Mantra, had conducted 200,000 eye screenings and donated 30,000 pairs of glasses to children in need. In my view, if people like Sam tell me that, hey my friend, I love Chinese people, but I have some disagreement with your government, I will be all ears, Otherwise, I doubt your sincerity. Alright guys, that's it for today's video, and I hope you get my point. I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.